Hi everyone, this is Sherrie Rice-Smith of EFT4Christians.com. Remember that tapping is not a substitute for any kind of medical or psychological care. If you need any of that type of help, please consult your own personal physician. All right, tonight what I want to discuss a little bit is surrogate tapping, or another word for that is proxy tapping. I've had some questions on this, and perhaps I can answer many of them on this YouTube video. So what is proxy or surrogate tapping? That's tapping on yourself for the benefit of another. It's like a gift or a prayer. You offer it to them with no strings attached. You can only do this from a positive motive perspective. You have to keep your opinions and your viewpoints out of it. You're not doing this to persuade another person to your personal viewpoint or to change their mind. You don't reframe or offer any type of positive suggestions while you do the tapping. You're only offering healing thoughts. And let me explain that to you. Let's say that you're tapping for one of your children who that right now isn't quite acting the way that you would like them to act. So you can't go tapping that, I'll eat my peas at supper and I will clean up my room and I'll be obedient and I'll get out of bed in the morning when you tell me. And you can't do that kind of tapping. That's not what this is for. What you would do in that case is you're going to say, I don't want to get out of bed in the morning and I didn't go to bed on time and I can't sleep, and whatever you think is going on in the child's mind around, whatever the behavior is that's happening. And of course, I would get in even deeper than that, because there's probably some issue going on. Perhaps the child's being bullied at school. Perhaps, they're not doing as well in class as they want. Maybe the teacher's picking on them. Maybe that could be another kid's picking on them. Maybe they're tired and they're just not performing well enough. There can be whatever, there's a myriad of reasons for whatever is going on. And as a parent, that would be things that you would know. As you tap for another person, you have to be detached from the outcome. And that's why you can't be throwing positive things in that you want behavioral changes, because that's not your place to change. Only God's the one that can change stuff for us. So what you're doing is you're tuning in empathetically and feeling for whoever that is. And this is where you let the Holy Spirit lead your thoughts and your words. Let him intuitively tell you what's going on. Remember, I believe that our intuition is the Holy Spirit. It's something he put in there to help protect us, those gut reactions of things that we think we should or shouldn't be doing, and it's a motivating force. And I think it's just another conversational piece that he has, that way he can talk to us through our sensations in our body. So let me tell you, first, you have to tap on yourself around whatever the issue is. So this is especially important when it has to do with your children or maybe sick or dying loved ones. You've got to get yourself out of God's way. It allows you to also accept whatever that outcome is. Let me give you an example of that. I'm going to go back to the kids. So what if the kids aren't obeying you? What if the kids aren't picking up the room? What if the kids aren't coming home on time? You need to detach all your feelings around, I'm so angry at them because they're not listening. I am so angry at them because of this. I'm disappointed in them. I resent this. Whatever your feelings are, get those tapped first. Take care of your own personal feelings so that you can hear what the Holy Spirit has to say to you about how that other person is feeling. And therefore, when you tap for them, you're tapping for them, not based out of what you're feeling. You can tap in the first or the third person. I don't care which one you do. If you tap in the first person, you speak objectively what they're saying and thinking and feeling. So if you're tapping for a toddler, you might be, I'm afraid, and you say it that way. I'm scared, I'm tired, whatever that could be. If you do it in the third person, I would then say, Jimmy feels tired. Jimmy, feels scared. Jimmy feels alone. Any of those, whatever's going on, you would know. Uh, Personally, I like tapping in the first person, and because of experience, and I don't know if that's just because I'm a bit older than some of you, you kind of have a clue what the person could be feeling in whatever situation they're in. And so based on that, you can fill in empathetically what's going on, and that's how I usually tap it. If you're physically present with somebody, if you're sitting across the room from somebody, tap according to the cues that they're given. If they're grimacing in pain, there you go. If they're restless, then there's another thing. If they're groaning, that's another clue. And I'm thinking of somebody perhaps in hospice. You can use the setup or don't use the setup, whatever that is. It's your choice, however you handle that. Remember, just tap. And then if you're with somebody physically, you can actually then just kind of tap on them. I would tap on their hand and then, perhaps just take the cues and think what you think they're feeling and tap about that. Can we even do this? I know a lot of Christians find this to be kind of the woo-woo part of EFT. It makes me laugh because I remember hearing Gary saying that we say negative things about people all the time. We're always, we whine and complain about our children or whatever. So why can't we tap and send them positive things? It would be much more beneficial than the negative ones that we already do. Reiki says we can't do this. Reiki says in order to do surrogate Reiki, you have to ask permission. Gary has never said that as far as I know. And to me, this is like prayer that why not do it? We don't we will tell people we're going to pray for them. But I don't think that we often say, ask permission to pray for them. The other thing I would do is, particularly with children, if you have a 2-year-old that's having a temper tantrum and you can't physically get your hands on them to tap, what I would do is tap in front of them. Just tap. Start tapping. They're right over there in the corner, yelling and hollering, doing whatever. I would just start tapping on myself. Remember those mirror neurons. They see you tapping, their mirror neurons respond, and that's what starts to settle them down because it's kind of that monkey see, monkey do process. So I use surrogate tapping in a more intercessory prayer type of thing. When we're feeling prayerful and led to pray for somebody, we have feelings within ourselves, and I think we kind of, I'm not, here I'm going to use that word intuitively, we kind of know what they are thinking and feeling, particularly if they have shared with us what's going on in their life. So if a friend calls you up and says, I'm having surgery tomorrow, it could be cancer, and I'm really afraid, there's your cues, along with what else was in the conversation, of what you could surrogately and prayerfully in an intercessory supplication type way to pray for them. And that's how I would do it. I try to do as much of the tapping as I can in a very prayerful manner, allowing the Holy Spirit to lead the process. Now, let me give you an example, and this is something I've done. This first story, I heard someone tell me, I have not tried this, but I heard this from a friend, that she got onto a plane. It was a red eye to Europe, so it was going to be a long night. And there was a small little one, 2, 3, 4-year-old in the across the aisle who was fussy right off the bat. And so her thoughts in her head were, oh dear, this is going to just not be a very pleasant flight if I have to listen to that child, cry and fuss for the whole time. So she just began to do in first person tapping for that child of, oh, I don't want to go on this trip, and I'm so tired, and I'm up too late, and I don't like airplanes, and I'm scared because I don't know what's going on, and mommy's not here, and I don't know where we're going, and I don't know what, just whatever could possibly happen. My diaper's dirty. I don't want to be in this seat any longer. I'm bored. it could be anything based on, and she was obviously looking at the child so she could see what was going on. She tapped all this through, and within a minute or two, I guess, the child just settled down, curled up, and went to sleep. That solved, the airplane flight that may not have been as pleasant as it could have been. Now, here's something I've used, and I've used this probably a good half a dozen times. I get in a grocery store and I hear a kid crying someplace. Now, the kid isn't really bothering me, and obviously I'm nowhere near it, and it isn't my child or my grandchild, so I'm, okay. But I know the child obviously sounds in distress for whatever reason, and you can tell whether it's a newborn with the higher screechy voice versus, a toddler who's crying. And so I often, with my thumbs on the cart bar, I will start tapping. And again, I do it in the first person. Mom's talking too much. I'm bored. I'm hungry. She didn't let me have the candy I wanted. I want to go home. I'm tired. I want to take a nap. Anything that I think that's age appropriate for that child is what I tap. And inevitably, and it has happened 100% of the time, the child has stopped crying within about 30 seconds. One time out of that half a dozen, within another 30 seconds, the child started to cry again. I think it was the same child. And then I just continued, the process. I just thought, got to get a little more tapping in here. And I just kept going. Now, a couple of those times, maybe, the mom and the child exited the store. I don't know. I honestly didn't see the child in any of those. I only heard them from a distance. Okay. Another quick example was in church. There was a 4-year-old and fussing because mom, told her to sit on the pew. She didn't want her on her lap. And, the little one just got antsy and feisty and, was starting to mess around. And I just started to tap on my gamut point, the back of my hand, again, just addressing the child's behavior of, I'm mad, mom wouldn't let me sit on her lap, and now I want to leave, and, I don't like this, and this is long and boring, and the pastor's sermon is too much, and whatever a 4-year-old could possibly be thinking. And this might have taken a tiny bit longer, but I would say within 30 to 60 seconds, the kid looked at me, went over, sat down on the pew, and that was the end of it. And she sat there perfectly fine for the rest of the church service. So it does work. I've tapped on for friends and family, older adults, just going on what I think they're thinking and feeling. So try it, use it. I would do it prayerfully. I would do it respectfully. I would do it for their higher good, not, any kind of selfish motives. You have to be very careful that you keep out of it. And then just stay out of it completely and allow God to do whatever it is that he chooses to do in that person's life through you by the grace of the Holy Spirit. All right, guys, take care. I hope this has helped. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.